Well, it's March 19th, 2022. And we're working on the old Jeep today. She dead flat. So we're trying to hit the battery. We also got a new stock used diff. We're gonna get it rolling under its own power for now. Tyler is gently putting the new axle seals in. I decided for the $45 it was worth to change the axle seals. Tyler likely will be joining us on Miles to Mayhem. There's probably a group of 3 of us, Paul, myself, and Tyler. As long as we can do 3 to a car. I can't see why not, but I guess we'll see. Big fat Bertha anyway, so why not utilize the mom wagon, as we'll call it, I guess. The Miles to Mayhem. So anyways, yeah, we're pushing forward. As you can see, no differential in there right now. Drive shaft hanging down. I got new stock CVs. They're a little beat up, but it'll basically hold me off until my Renegade Outlaw axles show up, and I'll pull it all apart again. At that point, I'll change the suspension. We're going to put some Eibach Special Edition Trackhawk lowering springs in, along with the TBA full suspension arms and the TBA diff brace. And then we're going to try and come up with some form of a front diff brace, front diff is easy, but we're going to try and come up with like a way to brace the front of this diff. Tyler's just working, making sure it's flush. As you can see, the stock SRTs, here's a big difference, guys. The stock SRTs diffs come with 1 mount. The Trackhawks come with 2. Guys, they're still the same gear. I don't care what anyone says. I've seen the insides. The same limited slip, same OEM electric limited slip, torque bias, BS. And then on top of that, it's still a 370 gear. So that's why I didn't want to just go Hellcat. It doesn't really make sense to just go Hellcat. But we're going to stiffen up the suspension a lot this year to hopefully not stress out the differential. If we do, we'll come up with a plan. That's why we have a whole subframe assembly to mock up a Ford 8.8, whether that's going to be a Super 8.8 or a Exploder 8.8. We haven't quite decided yet. I did sell the True Track that I bought for it, but fine by me. So anyways, put you down here. We're probably going to just slide this diff in, and yeah, it's go time. Hopefully start this biatch up today. Small update today. We are finally getting some suspension work done. I have my back pocket mechanic here for me. Mainly we're here to actually have some bro time, because we haven't had any bro time in like 2 months, 3 months.
I'm a long haul trucker, okay?
And figured I'd pay him in burgers and beer and a place to stay. His kid, my kid, are having some fun having drawing contests inside.
Oh Lord.
But CV axles going in. The TBA rear control arm upgrade is finally happening. And then we are going to do the diff braces. So we're going to have a whole new suspension setup there. I'm lowering the Jeep because the Jeep needs to be a little lower, stiffer, to not bounce as much. Rear main seal, I'll insert the video now, is totally shot. And we've pushed it in for now so I can, when the new Procharger spacer shows up, we can start it, get it on a trailer, get it to the shop, have more space with a lift to pull the transmission out, change the torque converter, because I have an Edge Racing torque converter, a 4,000 stall torque converter going in now. So anyways, just a small update. Nothing crazy to really show about this. Might show some of the details as we're installing, but nothing too crazy yet. So Tyler's got the RA spring. I definitely set up the FA spring. FA standing for front, RA meaning for rear. So the Eibach special editions are going in. They're actually meant for Trackhawk, but they work for the SRTs as well. And here's the typical the guy she told you not to worry about, and you. So you can tell the difference. I put in a G-Force Outlaw, the big boys, into, I'm putting them into the Jeep. We're gonna keep these stocks as spares because I need spares for Miles of Mayhem. So if you didn't know, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. I will be posting daily content for Miles of Mayhem in August when we get going. My pocket mechanic will be there with me. And yeah, boosted lifestyle. But man, these things are beefy. So anyways, just kind of wanted to show that face off.
I don't fit in his pocket. Have you seen this?
There's gonna be 3 fat guys riding in the Jeep. So anyways, gonna get this put in. We're gonna have a slam Jeep front and rear, and new upgraded CVs for the rear. Update, one side's done, almost. Tyler's just putting the lower on. Quite a bit beefier looking. CV axles in after a little bit of struggle. They're tight, but I wanted to show you the difference in the control arms, and why if you own any SRT or Trackhawk, you should be upgrading your control arms. The control arms are the exact same control arms from every platform, 3.6 to the 5.7. So everybody should be looking to upgrade these. They flex so much. Like, they're cheap. I went the expensive road. I went the TBA. You go the JBA. Or not JBA, B-Woody. Not a big fan of the B-Woodies myself. These tend to hold up a little bit better. As you can see the girth difference there. Just kind of wanted to make sure the Jeep got less flex in the rear suspension. We are lowering, like I said, the rear and the front up the rear suspension quite a bit. Guys have seen an increase in 60-foot time just off the springs, let alone the suspension not twisting and moving. We have quite a bit of little setup work to do on it, and then obviously a rear diff brace will be the game changer, a proper rear diff brace. Anyways, that's our update right now. Well, I'm here at AA Customs in Lloydminster, and we are doing some things to the Jeep. Transmission and T-case are out. No, I'm not upgrading them yet, but I am fixing the rear main seal that for some reason everybody thought I blew my motor. I didn't blow my motor. In fact, I added more power to it while it was down. And yeah, so we're just getting the rear main seal changed out. Input seal. Why would I be doing the input seal? Because I got a 4000 stall torque converter from Edge Racing. So we've made some pretty good progress. First time pulling one of these, so it's kind of, honestly, I probably pulled the motor just as fast as I pulled the trans, but I think this is still the easier way. I don't have to lose any coolant, oil, nothing of that nature. All we did is lose a bit of transmission fluid. We need to add some transmission fluid anyway. But yeah, we're making good progress. Nathan's been a great shop foreman. He's helped quite a bit, but we're just gonna stop for some food because it's 2 o'clock. Kind of what I figured. We'd be about 4-ish hours pulling it out. I bet you it's gonna go together in 2. It'll probably take 4 going back in too. But yeah, so we're making progress. If we're making good progress, I'm putting the diff brace in, rear suspension, arms, CV axles, they're all done. I do need an alignment. That's next on the list, but I'm gonna put you down, get cleaned up a little bit, and then we are going for lunch. Hey guys, well, update video on the Jeep. We are getting close to our 2022 season, but there's a few things missing. We increased the power level quite a bit, so we had to do some fuel systems this year. The fuel pump isn't keeping up anymore, so I introduced to you the FORE 1, 2, 3 Triple Fuel Pump Hat. Now, this I've got the whole kit minus. I'm using Performance World and fittings and everything. This is going to be kind of a multi-day video. I'm switching nights, so I'm sorry if the video seems a little muffled, but we are now making progress. The D1X is installed. I'll do a quick walk around. So the D1X is on. We put a Treadstone 1300 wheel horsepower rated, or 1300 horsepower rated intercooler. Black Sheep Industries blow off valve. Weld front racing wheels. 20s by 10.5 and Weld 17 by 10 with Mickey Thompson 315/50/17 Street R's paired with a 275/40/20 up front. We've got G-force axles installed, TBA lower control arms, caster arms, and then I still have a TBA rear diff brace to install. That's kind of going to get filmed in the same process. But in order to do the FORE fuel system, and I don't know if you guys know this, if you're watching this, is how to upgrade your WK2 SRT fuel system. Well, I got some bad news for you. The fuel tank's got to come out. Now let me get underneath to explain. So to pull the fuel tank, easy, but it's not. Because here's the fuel tank. And there's the fuel tank. The fuel tank is actually saddled over the rear drive shaft, which means the exhaust has got to come off. The rear drive shaft has to be unbolted. It is a cluster. So now I have to get back underneath the Jeep, pull the rear exhaust, pull the exhaust off, undo all these saddles, bolts here and back there, and pull a bunch of heat shielding and kind of go from there. This isn't going to be the most in-depth update. We're going to be talking about like updating based on the fact that you're going to want to drop the tank, do the fuel pump, run your lines. I'm going to go through that and my thought process on it and wiring it. It's again not going to be a how-to, but I'm just giving you the overall general consensus. You've got to get your rear exhaust, you got to get your exhaust off. You got to get at least the back half of your exhaust off. Then you have to get the I should say the back and the mid section. Then you have to get your rear drive shaft at least unbolted from the diff and from the carrier bearing. Once that's done, then you can work on pulling the whole exhaust system or a whole heat shielding. Once the heat shielding's out of the way, you'll be able to get rest of the saddle bolts for the tank. You have a bunch of connectors and a couple fuel lines, some vapor lines, all to disconnect. Once that's done, you can drop the tank. Now you want to ideally do this when you have the least amount of fuel in it. I'm an idiot and I don't have a ton of fuel. I don't have a ton drained out of the tank. I don't see a lower drain. Honestly, I'm going to try and lower it. I've got the trans jack plus my jack here, so I'm going to try and do it that way and go from there. So bear with me. I'm going to kind of get set up. There might be like a bit of a montage of me kind of running around, roaming around under the Jeep, rolling around. So if you see that, see you soon. Hey, so once you got the exhaust out, the drive shaft out, we're gonna take my drive shaft and look at getting it custom made into a one piece, something that'll hold a little bit more power than the stock one. And then it can build a little bit of a drive shaft hoop, because technically now that I'm on radials, I should have a hoop. Next step is to fuel line. Don't worry about trying to drain your tank. Don't worry about trying to burn it. Just disconnect your front fuel line, hook up an AN6 line, put it into a jerry can. Seems sketchy, but it'll work. Trust me. Then into Alpha OBD, and I'll try and record my screen here if I can. I'm going to record my screen if I can. Give me a second. So, okay, so we're recording our screen here. We're going to open up, I use the good old Alpha OBD. I'm going to fire up Alpha OBD. I'm going to connect your interface. once you're connected, you see at the top right here under my interface, connected to OBD, choose Grand Cherokee WK2. You're going to go to engine. You're going to go to Chrysler PowerTech Pentastar. Connect. Now, it's going to prime the fuel system here. That's fine. But, so now that we're connected, I'm going to come to here, select the little car, procedure, and dual speed fuel pump relay. Start it. Okay, so this one that would be, we're not a dual fuel pump. That's right. We're not a dual speed fuel pump right now. Fuel pump relay. Now it's going to start. Literally. Now you're pumping in 10-second increments. So then, once you kind of hit your start button 2 or 3 times, it's going to force this fuel pump just to stay on. Make sure you have your battery charger on, because your vehicle's not running. And preferably into an actual authorized container. This fuel I'm not too concerned about this year because it sat in the Jeep all last year and it's been mixed and mashed, and so I'm honestly going to use it in the lawnmower because it's still going to burn it. Anyways, pump it out depending on how full you are, about 3 minutes per quarter tank depending on the size of the fuel pump. So yeah, probably, yeah, total if you're full 12 minutes, maybe 15. But just be safe. Don't dump it legally. You know, take care of it properly. Okay guys, so you've got your FORE fuel pump hat and you're wondering how do I wire the new sending unit or the old sending. Really simple. There's no color code correction. Crimp it. It installs super simple, guys. Just slides on. Very smart build. Snaps in solid. Then the only thing you have left before you reinstall, like, it's honestly easy once you get to this point. That goes on to this piece right here. They make it as self-explanatory as possible. Matches that lineup. The factory fuel sender, you just got to pull the clip out and push down at the same time. Other than that, the only real hard, have a depinning tool so you can pull this connector apart, and you're officially off your stock fuel hat. I went with a triple FORE, buy once, cry once. Might never need all 3 pumps, might only run 2 instead, 2 and have 1 hot standby. I don't know yet. I'm gonna keep going. Well, it's a wonderful day in July, and we got the Jeep more torn apart. We are starting to finish the install of the fuel tank, wiring, methanol tank increased size, went from a 3 quart to a 3 gallon. It should fit underneath the lid. As far as everything that I can tell, it should fit. And yeah, we're gonna mount the fuel pump relay right here, the FC3 controller. So I'm gonna nutsert right there, and then that'll allow me to have that battery. For those that don't know, well, these Jeeps is actually right here, and see how we got the back seat out. I'm gonna pull the fuel pump wires up through, we believe that's, yeah, we're gonna pull them up through here, the fuel pump wires. It's a factory grommet that's not used, and should be good. Some number 4 feeder for a fuel pump. I'll show you what we're doing with the fuel filter after. I have a spot, pretty sure it's gonna work. I don't want it to be the entire low spot of the vehicle, but it's pretty close. Well, I'm sitting here, it's Sunday, July 10th. So fuel system's not 100% done yet. I've run into a small headache that I need longer bolts for the fuel rails to bolt up. I need to figure out some spacer situations. I got the fuel injector spacers. What they sent to bolt up to my manifold didn't work. Wasn't going to work. So I drilled them out. I'll have that all solved this week. That's fine. I'll get to test the fuel system. Not a problem. Put a Hobbs switch under the hood on my boost manifold and set it for a little more than I can physically blow into the sensor, so, or switch, and I might tweak it a little bit more yet. We'll see. That's going to drive the second and third pump. Fuel tanks installed. I'm going to say 98% of the plumbing is done, and I say that as all the lines are made. They're ran. I just need one 90-degree union so I can put the flex sensor in. Yes, I'm putting a flex fuel sensor in. But Miles of Mayhem prep is well underway. I'm way behind what I expected. I honestly started way too late in this year. I should have been more on it. I won't lie. My list is long, but nowhere near our left. But like you can see, it's up there. There's a new 3-gallon meth tank. It is a serious problem with methanol, is that you don't have enough, especially 3 quarts. So, but that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. This video has been like really kind of all over. It's an update on where we're at for the Jeep and the Miles of Mayhem prep. Probably going to state prepping the Jeep for Miles of Mayhem. We still have a lot of tuning to do. I did score a wicked deal on some tuning through acceleration this weekend. Horsepower for Hope. I proxy bid a tuning session, $1,500 tuning session through Acceleration Auto, and I won it for $650. This Jeep, it's not been about cutting costs or anything. Like, I put a FORE fuel pump setup in it. I ran all fuel line. Like, I did everything. I could have just done the booster pump and probably gotten okay, but I'm doing things a little more right. We built the motor. We have a D1X. I've got a bigger intercooler. So there's a lot of variables this year that I need to fix. So yeah, hoping Saturday or Sunday this week that we'll have the Jeep able to roll under its own power again. We're going to do an alignment again. So like it's Sunday. So next Sunday, hopefully it is out of the garage. Because I gotta give this thing a cut and a polish. It's so bad. But guys, I'm sorry for the everywhere video. This really isn't a great video about actual install, but it's been a learning process. The fuel tank was time consuming. Obviously, during this, guys, I went on a stretch of 17 night shifts at 13 hours a night. So it took a lot out of me, and then this Jeep is starting to become overwhelming with little things that I'm doing. We're just moving the boost gauge, technically going to from a wideband to an ECB-1 gauge, so boost, ethanol, fuel temperature plus wideband, and then on top of that, adding in the Hobbs switch to drive the fuel pumps, the bigger meth tank. There's a lot of wiring left to do. The fuel under hood stuff is like 99% done. I gotta do the ventilation, the PCV ventilation still, and then just some minor cleanup. Like, I have a solid week and a half of like evenings and a weekend work, and this thing is rolling. But guys, thanks for tuning in to Running Joe Off-Road. I promise hopefully some action starting next week. Hopefully you guys can start seeing the Jeep this year. If you didn't know, I blew the rear main seal this year already on my first drive. So that's why I haven't been out bunch, because honestly, everything has been a blur. From torque converter to intercooler to Procharger to the BSI, Black Sheep Industries blow-off valve. Yeah. Anyways, take care. Stay running off-road. I'll see you soon.